Okay, perfect. So just a quick roll call. We have Elia and Richard in the Biggings room with Alana and Travis. We've got Dawn on today, Joe, Nick, Lawrence, and Brad. No media is on the line today. So with that, I will ask if everyone's had a chance to approve or read through the minutes so that we can approve the June 16th meeting. And if anybody didn't have any questions or concerns with that, I will ask for a mover.
I'll move, Lawrence.
Lawrence, okay, Lawrence. And do I have a seconder on the minutes?
I can second.
And Richard, and all in favor that the minutes were as we recall? All right, perfect. So we are ready to move into declaration of pecuniary interests. Was there anything on the agenda here that somebody had to excuse themselves for?
I do.
Okay, Richard.
4.3B.
The Canadian bush plane.
Yep.
Okay, and you had submitted the documentations to Alana?
I have.
Fantastic. Okay, so moving on, we will turn it over to Richard. Are you going to do the financial update?
I can try. Well, I can try.
Give us what you got.
As of June 30th, we had cash in the bank of $1,177,278. I do have. I borrow that again.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I've come up with a format for income and expenses and compared it against the budget. And I think what we're going to do is on a going forward basis, that's what you'll eventually see for next month. But anyways, total revenue, we've got MAT funds in for the first 2 quarters, which was 409. We've got advertising revenue, which comes from our, what do you call it?
Guidebook.
Yeah.
And we've got some sundry revenue. So our total revenue is 439. Our expenses, I guess on highlights is we got a guidebook that cost us just under 38,000 on a budget of 55. So we're okay there. By my calculations, but Travis and Alana probably have to go through it, is we had $45,000 on the spring campaign against a budget of 53, the summer campaign of 108 against a budget of 120. And then there's odds and sods of various expenditures. And obviously we wrote the check for the lot, which comes under product development for 200,000. And it actually went by here today. So yeah, just to give you an update. So at the end of 6 months, we have a small surplus against plan of 14,000. So our total surplus to date is 1.2 million. So that's kind of where we are to date. So the other thing I guess is I shall mention is the calculation that is used for our MAT revenue, the MAT revenue that goes to Tourism Sault Ste. Marie is a calculation based on provincial averages. For 2020, the number, believe it or not, dropped 64% from the previous year. So it went from 37, 38, whatever that number is, probably millions, down to 13.5, so a 64% drop, which produces a negative number over a 10-year average. So, so that affects the dollars that are going to go to Tourism Sault Ste. Marie, and that would make more dollars available to the Sault Ste. Marie Fund and the TDF, assuming we capture the revenue that we're hoping to. So I just bring that up. And at this stage of the game, I don't think I've got anything from Shelley, but I'm pretty sure that we're on agreement as to what that number is close to be, so.
And that should be the equivalent to what we've budgeted for.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
shouldn't impact the Tourism Sault Ste. Marie, the corporation's budget.
I think we're within $1,000 of whatever that budget happened to be, so.
Excellent. Travis, Alana, can I ask the advertising revenue that we collected at the 28 or the 29,000 there? Was it what we were hoping for? Was it higher than what we were hoping for?
We had budgeted 30,000 for revenue, so we're almost exactly on par.
Right where we wanted to be. Okay, good. Excellent. If anyone has any questions on the financial update that they want to direct either towards Richard or the city staff. Okay. Travis, did you have a comment at all with regards to the allocation or concerns that way, or you feel good about where we're sitting with regards to that MAT tax and that drop?
No, I think based on what I've talked to Richard about, and I have seen some preliminary numbers from our finance team here. I think everything aligns between the two parties, so it's looking good.
Excellent. We'll keep it with you here then, moving into new business with the tourism update.
Sure, thanks, Beverly. So a couple of items here. We've been in constant communication with Watco with respect to the train. We've been getting weekly updates on their bookings. We're roughly at, so we've been comparing against the 2018 numbers from the period of August 1 to the completion of the season. So right now we're sitting at roughly 62% of ticket sales when compared against the August numbers. That being said, we are seeing some pretty significant uptick over the past couple of weeks. Last week in particular, they were able to sell 1,000 seats. So we're going to continue to monitor that. There is no doubt in our mind that the ArriveCan app and the border issues are still having a negative impact on tourism here. So hopefully, obviously that won't be, doesn't sound like that will be gone before the fall, but hopefully we see that transition out sometime this year. With respect to the tour boat, as mentioned by Richard, the tour boat went right by the offices this morning. So they're obviously testing it. As we understand, there's still a little bit more work to do, but they are on schedule for a startup date of August 15th, as we're aware of right now. Keeping on the waterfront, we were working with Sail Superior and Zodiac Tours, and unfortunately, they were not able to meet their sales targets for this year for Sault Ste. Marie. So they've opted not to come up here for this year, which is unfortunate. But at the end of the day, when we take a step back and we look at our objectives for Sail Superior, we were looking for another product for the waterfront. And ideally we were trying to convince them to set up a second operation here. Based on our conversations with them, it appeared that was never going to be an option for them. So we're regrouping internally here, and we're trying to look at what other products we could potentially add to the community. And we're just in conversations with Destination Northern Ontario. That is something that they may assist us with in terms of looking at trends and how we go about identifying new opportunities and new business partners with the goal of attracting new products here. So we'll continue down that path, exploring that opportunity with Destination Northern Ontario, and we'll keep everybody up to speed on that. Kind of on the labor force front, we've got our labor force coordinator here that works under our community development department. She's been working with a number of local hotels to source labor, and there was a hospitality specific job fair that was held, and we've had some success in terms of finding labor for a few of the hotels. And I would just mention to the hoteliers on call here that if you are having difficulties, don't hesitate to reach out. Labor force coordinator is under my department, so feel free to reach out to me directly, and I can set you guys up with her. The last one, so we are undertaking, we received the bids for the mountain bike trail construction, and we're undergoing the evaluations across the board. It's been an exceptional period for these companies. I think transitioning out of COVID, you're seeing a lot of investment throughout our province and other provinces in terms of trail construction. When we were talking to some of the companies, they were saying that their availability started in 2024. We have a company that we're currently in discussions with where we may be able to get some work done later this year, but we'll definitely be able to start the work in 2023. So we're kind of going back and forth, just trying to solidify start dates and what that might mean in terms of contract award. Lastly, some really good news. As of the end of May, in terms of MAC collections, we're currently sitting at about $35,000 above the MAC collections from 2019 over that same period. So I think things are trending quite well there. And on that note, I would turn it over to the hoteliers and just get a sense of your feelings over June and July in terms of what you guys are seeing for bookings, in terms of occupancy rates and where you see things trending over the summer.
If we see the pace that we've been seeing through June and July here, I feel it's going to be a very strong summer right through October. I'm sure that the other hotels, from what I'm seeing on my OTA insight reports and things along my star reports, everyone is running very successfully right now, and doesn't make up for everything that we've lost, but we're certainly going to take it while we have it. Don, Nick, Joe.
I completely agree. I'm leaving the hotel and the next morning picking up 35 to 40 rooms a night of just people just stopping. And our rate has never been stronger, so that leads to a significant MAC collection for this year for everybody as well. So great job to all the hoteliers and the attractions that are drawing people to town.
I have go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
No, I agree with I agree with what's been said. It's been really busy. Pretty good. Let's put it this way, I'm happy.
The only pattern I foresee possibly, because I believe that summer travel has already been planned out by the traveler. They're going regardless. They've factored in gas prices and whatnot. For me, I think the only thing that we may see is slower, like faster than expected slowdown in the off-season months with interest rates climbing and possibly heading into a recession may affect some travel. Time will tell. It's been pretty good. We're enjoying it, I think. And we're not fighting with each other yet. So things are pretty good.
Just curious, we understand that there's a transient workforce associated with the upgrades of Algoma Steel. Just wondering if anybody's dealing with those individuals, and I'm just curious about the duration of stay, whether or not that's positively impacting our MAC collections, or if they're staying over 30 days. I don't know if anybody's had that experience. No.
To be honest, I don't even think they've broken any ground in there yet. They probably won't be doing anything significant probably for another year. I from what I understand, they're still in kind of the planning, environmental, whatever they got to do stages before they could even get any serious work going there. apparently there's people in town to do some of that work, but I'm guessing that they're probably staying closer, into some of the downtown hotels or whatever, getting closer to the steel plant.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, and
Well,
I think at this point, it's probably contractors that are not necessarily booking under, like, as part of the Algoma Steel project, and more on your shorter term contractors that are coming in and doing that prep stuff and some of those studies and the environmental that Don referred to.
okay. Thanks.
So I gotta ask, the question is since occupancy is up, US is down, where are the increase coming from? Southern Ontario or elsewhere?
I feel like there's a lot from the west as well. I mean, being our proximity, we're that Trans-Canada stopover for a lot of people. So yes, primarily it's still provincial. I don't know how much of an impact the assistance with the tax reduction is impacting them. But at the end of the day, a lot of it is within the province. And then you've got your people from east and west that are traveling through.
And I also think there's a part of market of the Sioux seems to be a staging area or a staging zone for people that are working up in the mines or the development of the mines up north. They fly in their crews. They stay over and then they drive up the next day type thing. So I think there's some of that driving things in the short term. So we'll see how long it goes there. I know they're looking to expand the mines up there, and it seems to be more and more mining related trucks that I see around town. So I know that there's a presence of those guys here too.
Thanks. Travis, did you have anything further on the tourism update?
I did not.
Okay. I did have a question about the boat. Have they started doing some marketing and starting to put things out there?
They've got a draft website going, but I haven't seen much
No.
by way of active marketing at this point.
I would agree. They haven't gone out to active market yet. They want to make sure the product is going to meet the timelines, which I spoke to Jeff yesterday, and everything is on track. Yeah, they're doing their test runs right now that they have to do for ministry regulations, and they're finishing up. They've got some canvas work to do and some painting, but the boat is on track.
Actually, and on that, Beverly, sorry, I realized I did miss something in my notes. I did have a conversation with the owner of Search Mount the week before last, and according to him, things are trending on schedule. They're excited to be, from the sounds of it, fully operational this year, and they have brought in a new general manager for the facility. So he's going to be back in town the next couple of weeks, so I'm hoping to meet with him face to face and get a better understanding of exactly where they're at as we head into the fall season.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. So the STR report, and pardon me, Elena, I don't have that number, but it came back at 48 US.
I don't have the exact number. It was around, it was right around there.
Yeah, it was 48 or 49,000 US.
No,
And
4,900.
yeah, sorry. 48 or 4,900 US to look at those destination reports that we had discussed previously with looking at moving forward with. Tara, if you want to put up the participation list. I had gone through the participation list. Basically with that, we get 6 city destinations that we can choose that they will run reports on, and then provide us that data, and that includes going back and doing last year as well. Correct, Alana?
I had originally asked him about the data for us, but I'm sure he can pull the reports for the destinations as well. I'm sure that's
Okay.
not.
Excellent. Having had a look at some of the cities, my personal recommendation to the board would be that we're gonna want to look at probably Sudbury, North Bay, Timmins, Thunder Bay, and Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. That puts us with 5. I didn't really have a thought on the 6th one, looked through a different couple of things. If you guys wanted to look at something like Aurelia, or if we wanted to look at another Michigan city, perhaps Traverse City, Petoskey. There really wasn't a lot else in northern Michigan, like in the UP, Mackinac City, St. Ignace. They're fairly small reporting areas, but I would like to know what the board's thoughts on those ones are. And if there was any city that you wanted to see on here for Tara to show as far as who is participating in STR.
Tara, there's a tab on the bottom for Michigan, if you want to show that one too.
What does the STI report show?
So it's occupancy, average daily rates. Yeah.
Does it indicate where people are traveling from?
No.
I did see Gatineau, that's right on the border. So
It's like
I-
all,
so we might want to think about another border city in southern Ontario. That's a suggestion. I don't know.
yeah, it's just on the one thing with Gatineau, it's just on the border with Ottawa, and you have all those federal offices, so how much of that would be?
So, yeah, so you don't want
But
that.
we could have
one,
like
but is there
Sarnia, Port Huron,
Yeah.
like to that point.
Having lived in Port Huron, I don't know. How many people are staying there.
Would it be worth having a city of comparable size in Michigan that has relatively similar features, water access, trail access, indoor facilities that are similar to Sault Ste. Marie? Just as a comparison, I'm just putting it up for discussion.
Yeah, Lawrence, we would have to look at this, we'd have to discuss it, but Duluth, Minnesota is comparable size and on Lake Superior. So we just have to confirm that, but that could be a good comparable. Now they have access to much larger markets. I mean, I think that's one of the challenges with the US. You know, if you were to do a 7-hour radius around any city, pretty much any city in the US, you know, the population is just exponentially larger than us. But I mean, from a comparables, that's a good community. I just don't know if we'll be able to reflect that in the STR.
Don, you had mentioned before Mackinac as an idea, looking to see at the potential there for numbers of tourists in that area that we might be able to pull to our side. Not here anymore.
Yes. So I don't know.
If you want to go down to Mackinac, I think that there's only about 4 hotels that are reporting in Mackinac.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to check.
Yeah, the other issue I think with Mackinac too, potential issue, is that a lot of the hotels there are owned by the same person. So I don't know if they participate in STAR or not.
Yeah, there's not a lot of numbers there.
Yeah,
Or the number of
there's
hotels we have.
5 of them there.
They just settled on a lawsuit for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, wasn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's not enough numbers there.
And then I think St. Ignace, if you go down to St. Ignace, was about the same. Maybe one less. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Up a little bit more. Lot more.
Right there.
There.
Saginaw?
So St. Ignace only has the 3 hotels.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's where it gets tricky. I did like the idea of Sarnia Port Huron. If Tara, you want to flip back over to the Ontario and see what is reporting in Sarnia.
That's in there.
Oh, it is like a report.
That's included in there.
Not very many there either.
Again, you've only got the 4.
There's some trouble.
I think a good match, based on, and I agree with Lawrence, although the city itself isn't similar size, but I do think they're in a part where they attract a lot of visitors would be Traverse City, because they have a lot of the same offerings that we have with, water sports and, trails and, things that they do.
Probably a little bit, I don't think better, but they have like the wineries and like that kind of stuff too, right? So we don't really have that kind of offering, that culinary offering.
You know what, I agree with you. I was just there last week, and it's definitely, the beautiful beaches all throughout the town, higher end kind of experiences, like in terms of the restaurants, the access to the Chicago markets. It's kind of like the Muskokas of Michigan. I wonder if it would be worthwhile if staff came back with a couple of recommendations, and then rather than
we just need one more city.
One more city, like maybe we could give
It's
it
so
off.
hard because those ones, like, there's a skew there, right? 'Cause like you were saying, they have within a 7-hour, like with the radius, they can pull from such large markets.
Yeah.
Where our largest market is Toronto,
Yeah,
right? Like where they have maybe multiple
yeah,
areas where they're pulling from.
Just pick one.
Well, there's one thing that I will share. My wife had some family members who live in BC that were in town for the last couple of weeks, and they've done a lot of the. I know her cousin's wife hadn't been here, and so they went to a lot of the places around here that. We've been getting better at promoting, some of the outdoors types things, because, they're those types of folks and whatnot. And they say they didn't realize how well some of the stuff, or how much it's improved over the years, the product itself. So I think when we're looking at comparables, I don't think we need to necessarily look at comparables in terms of per se the exact options that we offer and stuff like that, but it's the kind of traveler, right? And being able to say, do our offerings match what the type of traveler would partake in, for example. And we look at and I think we build ourselves as kind of a say like, and I'll just go back to Traverse City as an example, so the Traverse City attracts a certain type of travelers. Like you said, it's kind of the Muskokas in Michigan, and it kind of draws from a lot of the big cities in southern Michigan and Illinois, and maybe even Ohio and stuff like that. So do we position, the way we've been positioning our product, and to reach out to say, understanding what type of traveler goes into those markets, is how do we get them to extend to come that extra little short distance north, right? And how could we position the assets that we do have to encourage that traveler? So I think STAR is part of it, because STAR will give us how much they're spending and all that kind of stuff, sure. But I think we need to, find out a little bit more about what kind of traveler is going where, and maybe targeting those areas when we look at the areas that we want to compare ourselves to, because those are likely the same type of travelers that would come into our area.
Thanks,
The
Dawn.
other thing I can look to too, Beverly, is there may be an option, to follow our 6 cities, and then come the end of the year, we might be able to swap those numbers or those locations out and just stay within the 6 cities. So say we followed Traverse City for a year, we got some intel, can we swap that out then with another city in Michigan? I can find that answer out. That might be a good approach to at least start with one. And then if it's not giving us the information we need, we can switch it out to another location.
Yeah, I would definitely look into that. I don't know how it works on the trends report. I know that from the hotel side of things, we can't make one change to STR. There has to be a plus and a minus, or two pluses and a minus. Those kind of things. You can't just swap out one for another, but I don't know that it works the same way with the destination reports.
Yeah, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure either, but I'm happy to find that information out if we wanted to, if that made a difference. That's all I can ask.
Likely because they're reporting the destination as the destination. There's no confidentiality and proprietary information there. So that is possibly a good option.
It would be interesting though to see if Duluth is a possibility.
So aside from Traverse City or potentially Duluth, because we don't have Duluth's reporting information on here, and possibly Sarnia. Sarnia didn't really have a lot of properties. Was there any other thoughts from the board with a direction that you'd like us to look in?
I think going
And were you
along
happy with the
my-
original 5?
I think going along with my thought, you know, in the Bruce area, whether Owen Sound or those types of places, because there's a lot of outdoors types of adventures or things that people can do, and I think those are the types of people that would likely or most likely would come a little further to into our area.
Nick, do you have anything from a hotel side that, knowing star reports, that you'd like to weigh in with?
I like what Don's saying, and just I was at Mackinac for the first time a couple of weeks ago. I really like that area. I think they've done great there. Possibly, did we talk about Boyne? Sorry, I'm trying to put out hotel fires at the same time as this meeting here too, as everybody can understand too. Did we talk about Boyne?
We did not. I think Boyne gets lumped in with Petoskey potentially.
Okay.
Oh, there's Boyne.
And I think Travis, were you and your boys just down in Marquette too? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, we were down in Marquette. They do offer similar offerings, much smaller, but it is isolated. It's roughly 7 hours from Detroit. And I think, sorry, I was just going through we'll put another plug in for Duluth if we can get it. Aspects, if we can, I was just going through their tourism site, but it's, you know, a recovering steel town, shipping, what have you, fairly industrial. It's about 85,000 individuals and similar tourism offerings. But I think between the isolation of Marquette, it could be a good one. And, you know, maybe if we can get some stats on Duluth, that could also be a good one.
I would be interested to see the stats on Duluth.
I just messaged SPR, my contact's away until Monday. The other thing I'll add in is it's $100 per destination beyond our 6. So, I mean, not a significant investment. If there's a handful of them that you want to look at, I'll put that over. If you're having a hard time narrowing it down to one, it's $100 additional for every destination you want to add in.
Yes. Marquette, that's interesting. I've never been to Marquette, but I wouldn't have thought that it was with as many hotels as it seems to have reporting here.
Marquette would be a good one.
Yeah, it's very
That's
popular
interesting.
destination, particularly. I mean, it's right on Superior. Like I said, it's isolated.
Is that where the picture rocks are?
That's Munising, so it's just
down
down
there.
there. Similar products for sure. So that could be, and it's an old, it's a partially old mining town and currently active in some areas. So it's got industry mixed in there as well.
they're
And it's
not
a
too far
university
from
town as
Milwaukee
well.
and Green Bay. You got a short drive from Green Bay and the Milwaukee area.
Oh,
And they've got
yeah.
a very good university as well.
Yeah.
They have a small airport like we do as well too, right, Trav?
Yeah, it's having flown out of it, it's a bit smaller, but you know, direct flights from Detroit and Minneapolis. You know, and I believe Chicago. I think I flew into Chicago when I was there. So
Okay.
And
I would
that's
say
a university town as well.
Marquette.
Yeah.
they've got about 7,000, I think, at least university students there. It's quite big for a population of 21 or 22,000.
Okay. Well, I would be interested to see some information from Duluth. I know I'm personally now interested in Marquette, and maybe some thoughts around Traverse City. Okay, did anyone have any other questions or comments towards STR, or we'll look into a few of those other cities to round out the 6?
Come back next month.
Okay, Alana, you and I can connect on that one afterwards here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on to 4.3A, we have a TDF application in front of us for Crank the Shield running July 29th to 31st. Alana, do you want to speak to it and the summary, and then we'll take some questions?
Sounds good. Just confirming everyone's received the summary and the evaluation matrix. Okay, I'll read the overview, go through the highlights of the event and where it landed on the matrix. So I think a lot of us are familiar with Crank the Shield. It's a 3-day multi-stage mountain bike race that runs in the backcountry of Algoma. In years past, it did use the Agawam Canyon Tour train to start at day 1, but this year, just with timing, they're running the event before the train is. So they're going to be using a coach bus to shuttle the participants to a new start point in Batchewana. The race runs for 3 days with overnights at Stokely Creek Lodge. It's built around highlighting Sault Ste. Marie and the mountain biking network for adventure travelers. In 2022, Crank the Shield is running on the long weekend of August, giving participants an extra day to stay in the city and explore around what we have to offer. So if they're coming up, they get to have that extra day, which is good. Projections for visitation for this year, looking at approximately 30 local, 14 from across the region, 112 from across Ontario, 8 coming from the USA, with an economic impact sitting around $72,000. It does have a fairly high promotional impact with different media outlets, and we're looking at an evaluation in the scoring matrix of 51.5, which puts it in the $5,000 range. Staff analysis, so we feel that it's an excellent event that features the mountain bike trails in the Algoma region. Looking to see a recommendation, staff is recommending the board consider $5,000 to support the expenses for out-of-town marketing, trail preparations, insurance costs, and the bus transportation for riders, up to a maximum of $5,000. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to try and answer them.
Go ahead, Joe.
How much money will be spent on marketing this event as opposed to the operational startup costs?
For Crank the Shield?
Yes.
Staff has, we have not put any paid marketing into Crank the Shield. In years past, for their first 2 events, we supported it through tourism with $5,000. But for this particular year, we don't have a financial investment in Crank the Shield.
No, that's not my question. I'm sorry. Perhaps I wasn't clear.
Joe, I think this is in retroactive to what's already been spent. I don't think there's new campaigns coming out within the next 2 weeks. So I think it's part of the ask is to cover what the race directors already put into the marketing. I'm sure that could be provided if we needed to see it.
So
But I mean, it happens in 2 weeks, right? So I don't know if there's new campaigns going out or not. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn as well.
I think I can help with that, Nick. So to date, in the budget that has been presented to us, there's $3,800 set aside for marketing that he would have paid for.
That's what I was asking. Thank you, Alana.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The transportation for the riders to get to the start line is $1,800. The registration and insurance fees are around $750. So there's pieces of those that he's included. His overall budget for the event is $78,394. And he's asking for $5,000 to help offset those expenses.
Big budget.
3 days, yeah. If you want, I can go through the valuation matrix. In the visitor day area, it scores an 8. Out of town visitation, 2.5. Opportunity for growth, we feel it has high value with growth potential, sets at a 7. It does attract international travelers, so a 10. The economic impact is under 100,000, so only 1 point in that area. Uses a variety of vendors and suppliers. 10, it's in the summer season, so it scores a 4 in that area. We've marketed, or we tagged it as provincial media exposure, so a 3. It has happened in the last 5 years, so it received 1 point and it meets our priority objectives, so it is 5 in that area for a score of 51.5.
Alana, did they indicate how many people they already have registered for the event?
Yeah, so the application that he submitted it just came in last week. So these ones are pretty accurate projections based on what was already registered. So around 112.
Okay.
Which is lower than years past.
And just to piggyback and speak from a race director's perspective as well, numbers are low for everybody this year. For a number of reasons, there's still some trepidation regarding gathering and COVID, but there's also a resurgence of events in the market. And when people are spending so much on gas, it's like they're not going to attend every single one. I'm seeing registrations be a challenge, and even to speak from the Run the Great Lakes, which is a charity event that usually gets 600 people in the downtown area in the first weekend of June. They pulled about 310 people for that event, and that's a kids and family event too. So, I mean, for them to be able to get 112 or 115 people for a 3-day event I'd say that's a success in this year. That's for sure. And I can speak to my side of things too. I already have a number of people who have booked from out of town for the Thursday and Sunday nights at my hotel. I think I've got about 20 on each night, which is nice.
Were there any other questions or comments from the board with regards to this? If not, I'll read the resolution as it's drafted. Okay, so the resolution on this would read, be it resolved that Tourism Sault Ste. Marie recommended a contribution of $5,000 through the Tourism Development Fund Conference and Special Events Stream to support the Crank the Shield on July 29th to 31st, 2022, and that a report be submitted to City Council for consideration and approval. Do I have a mover for this resolution? Lawrence? And a seconder?
I'll second.
Don? And I'll call for a vote of those in favor of this resolution. And Don, your video's off.
Oh, you know what? Hang on. I mean,
I just want to be able to record your vote. That's all.
yes, yes. I mean,
Okay. So motion carried for Crank the Shield. All in favor? Okay, the next TDF application in front of us is the CBHC 75th Beaver Bash, the plane, the myth, the legend.
I have to leave.
Yeah,
Richard,
I'll
you
jump in,
will,
yeah. Yeah.
Has to be, or just not, okay.
and Alana, over to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just waiting. Richard's excusing himself from the meeting. Okay. Yeah, just for the record, Richard has declared a conflict as he sits on the board of directors for the Bush Plane Museum. So overview of the application. So the 75th Beaver Bash, the plane, the myth, the legend, the de Havilland Beaver Birthday Bash, it's a mouthful, is first event in a series of a couple of major events planned by the Bush Plane Museum over the next 2 years to celebrate the historical milestones leading up to the 100th anniversary of the Ontario Provincial Air Service. The Bash will celebrate the 75th anniversary of the first flight of the Beaver, the most iconic Canadian-built bush plane and one of Canada's top 10 engineering feats of the 20th century. So on Sunday, August 14th, the museum will host a day-long event that celebrates the Beaver and its contribution to bush flying in the North. So there's a series of different activities planned: live music, workshops, barbecues, some interactive elements. There's a silent auction. So they're looking to attract Beaver enthusiasts and pilots from across Canada to come and celebrate this event. They're projecting 1,300 people locally coming, regional visitors of approximately 100 people, Ontario visitors 80, looking to attract 50 visitors from the US. The economic impact of this event sits at 33,750. It is expected to generate some overnight stays, but the majority of folks coming in and out for the day. There is Beaver specific and seaplane specific Facebook groups that they're looking to target that have over 3,000 subscribers for the event. And as the museum is an active aerodrome, they're expecting that there may be some pilots flying in for the event, which would be great. The revenue for the event sits at approximately $36,000 with sponsorship, in-kind programming, and merchandise sales. Their expenses sit at $16,000, so it does look like it's a fundraiser for the museum. The matrix score sits at 45.5, which puts them in the low range of 5,000 plus. We're asking for the board to consider a recommendation of up to $5,000 maximum to support this event.
And did they indicate what the 5,000 they're looking for is going towards? Primarily marketing.
Predominantly the marketing and some of the activations throughout the day, the bands and the AV rentals.
Okay.
There is, I just saw it come across yesterday on Sioux Today. They have through Village Media a spotlight article that's out right now. I just saw it come out. So that will be definitely part of their marketing that is out within the region right now.
And if they're working with Village Media, that is probably going to hit some of their other markets as well. I throw it to the board with any questions, comments, thoughts on the Beaver Bash.
It's a great name.
I was just about to say, does that infringe on anything of Lawrence that he works with?
No,
I'm pretty sure the plane was named first, so I don't know.
Lawrence might be in trouble.
There you go. The ask is for 10,000. Is that correct?
No, 5.
Okay.
Well, the original ask, sorry, and this is, everybody does it. The original ask was for the full 20,000.
Okay.
We have gone through using the evaluation tools that we have and the scoring matrix that we use. It came out at a recommended range of around 5,000. But again, that's up to the board to decide where you want to land with those. That's the recommendation that we give based on the evaluation that we use.
Just a point of order in the sheets.
The 4 days.
On the TDF application, it does ask for 10,000 at the top. That's what threw me off.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay.
it does have an ask of 10,000, and then the recommendation to the board is at 5,000 based on the matrix. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Do we know how much money they spent?
Their overall budget of what they've spent to date, sorry, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I think the marketing side, like I know obviously, you know, it's late coming because I mean, yeah, you can do some last minute marketing and stuff like that, but I've got to think that, you know, an event like this, they've already been out there trying to promote the event.
Yes, and that's part of the spotlight through Village Media. That's a paid campaign that's in market right now. I can see what they have here for overall marketing budget. It's a very detailed application. So their marketing budget is $750 for paid social media. It looks like Sue today is doing the spotlight in kind. It is a fundraiser. I mean, I did note that they're looking to do this as a fundraiser. So they're seeking sponsorship with the goal of putting approximately $15,000 into revenue for the Bush Plane Museum for their traveling exhibit.
They certainly have a monopoly on it. As far as, you know, it's not going to be an event that's going on at a lot of other places, if anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, so their expenses sit at 21,000. Their revenues right now are sitting at 36,000 prior to sponsorship.
Do we have anything else from the board, or I can read the resolution as it's drafted? So the resolution as drafted would read, be it resolved that Tourism Sault Ste. Marie recommend a contribution up to $5,000 through the Tourism Development Fund, Conferences and Special Events Stream to support the CBHC 75th Beaver Bash, the Plane, the Myth, the Legend on August 14th, 2022, and that a report be submitted to City Council for approval. Do I have someone that would like to move on this application? Lawrence, Nick second. And I'll call for a vote for those in favor of approving the $5,000 to the Bush Plane Museum. Okay, motion carried.
We'll just get Richard back in here.
Yeah.
I can grab him.
Okay. Yeah. He really excused himself. I think he went downstairs.
Did he go down to see if the boat was going by again?
We found him. All good, Richard.
Okay, thank you, guys. August the 14th.
Everybody be there.
Fun time.
Okay, so the last
Okay.
TDF that we have for today is an educational symposium that's being put together by Sioux College. for the fall. Our team is working with them to help support the conference on a staffing side, just with logistics and helping secure venues and accommodations. So we were approached with this conference, and they are looking to put in an application to support the event in October, the 24th to the 28th. It is a skin and wound conference, so they're looking to do education and training for healthcare practitioners in Northern Ontario and increase their skill level in treating skin and wound care. It is an international conference. There's a series of delegates that are looking to come from across not only Northern Ontario and Ontario, but through their Zoom options, looking to stream in live from across the world. They are anticipating a strong number of people coming to the Sioux to participate in the event. And because it is over multiple days, 5 days, it creates quite a significant impact. Looking to have approximately 104 locals, regional visitors of 70, 136 coming from across Ontario, 50 coming from across Canada, 10 from USA, 12 international, for a total of 383. 279 of those coming from out of town over 5 days, creating an impact of over $200,000 to the community. From the promotional side, this is a very specific target market. They're looking to target healthcare practitioners, predominantly in Northern Ontario, remote north, and across Southern Ontario. The revenue from this event will be gained through registration fees, sponsorship, and grants. They are looking to be successful with this particular conference in the hope of having it return year over year, which is great. So it's the first year here. And if it's successful, there's an opportunity that we may see it return. They are looking, their original ask was for $20,000. Using the matrix that came in, they scored 53, which is on the high end of the range between $5,000 and $10,000 for consideration. We are recommending that the board consider a recommendation of $5,000 for specific costs associated with the out-of-town marketing of the event and venue and logistic rentals, including sound and transportation for their field tours.
Alana, did they indicate that if this year was successful that they would keep it in Sault Ste. Marie moving forward, or did they indicate that they'd like to rotate it throughout other communities?
No, the idea is that they will have it again here in Sault Ste. Marie. It's Sault College that's leading it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just one other point to add. My understanding in speaking with them as well is they're hoping to get them out into the community and surrounding area to show them kind of the offerings that we have here. So that could potentially lead to individuals returning on their own time.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely in the time of year that we're looking at, October 24th to 28th.
Yeah.
So are most of these people physicians?
They would be physicians and nurses. Yeah. We're going to try and keep them all here.
We are working separately through community development with physician recruitment on this one. So we weren't joking.
Do they have have they started registrations for this yet? And if so, like, have they?
Not formally, they haven't started the registration process, but there's conversation with the key players in multiple areas. They're quite confident in their numbers. Yeah, they're just, right now they're finalizing some of the expense line items to be able to determine what the registration fees will be.
Okay.
Is this the nursing section of the college that's putting it on? I'm just curious as to what department is spearheading the movement. I think it's a great idea, but what department of Sault College?
Tara, the lady's name is Lori Crossan, and I believe she is in the nursing department. Tara, do you know that answer for sure?
It's sort of sorry, Tara, to interrupt. It's jointly being moved by, and I apologize, I'm not going to get his name right, but there's a long-term logo.
Sybil.
Symbol.
So it's his kind of his initiative, as I understand, and then partnering with I don't know what the appropriate, if it's health sciences or the nursing program out of Sioux College. So
I think that's relevant in terms of continuity. I mean, if it's a college event headed by or spearheaded by a particular department, then we could see it moving forward. Dr. Sybil comes here maybe once or twice a month at best. I know the man. I've seen him on a professional level, and a nice guy. But it'd be nice if the college were the moving entity on this matter. And I'm assuming it's their application in conjunction with Dr. Sybil. Is that fair?
yeah, they were the ones that so they reached out to me directly, Joe, and it was I mean, it's presented. All the organization for the event is through the college, and I'm just trying to draw some more emails here, but you know, I think there is a backstop locally here to continue the event year over year, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe there is another individual within the hospital that would be supporting this on a go-forward basis.
Who are we cutting the check to? I guess that's the question.
The application was submitted by Sioux College under the Skin and Wound Education Symposium with a Sioux College contact.
Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns moving forward here, or I'll read the resolution as drafted. Okay, so this resolution would read, be it resolved that Tourism Sault Ste. Marie recommend a contribution up to $5,000 through the Tourism Development Fund, Conferences and Special Events stream to support the Skin and Wound Educational Symposium on October 24th to 28th, 2022, and that a report be submitted to City Council for consideration and approval. Do I have a mover for this resolution? Brad? And a seconder? Nick? And I'll call for a vote for those in favor. Okay, all in favor, motion carried. Okay, thanks everyone. That concludes the TDF applications that we had in front of us. If there was anything else that anyone wanted to put forward right now, otherwise we will adjourn with our next meeting being August 18th at 12 noon.
I have a follow-up question from last meeting.
Sure.
And I'd like to get some comments from the board because I'm not sure what the best approach is here, but I was wondering if the city has had any follow-up with SR regarding the spill, and if there's been any notification from any other operators in terms of lost revenue, impact to their business. I know this isn't something that we want to necessarily promote, that we've had this, and I understand that the spill may have been relatively small, but still it has an impact. And I think regardless of the size, that impact on our operators is significant enough that we should maybe reach out to them to see if we can develop some sort of partnership with them on a more positive level, where there can be some compensation, or maybe some grants or money for education that will help our operators out, because I think that income is significant when you're working with margins like that.
Yeah, Lawrence, I can speak to that. I mean, so the correspondence between Algoma Steel and the city on this matter has been largely through the mayor's office. I know that Algoma Steel was dealing directly with the Ministry of Environment on the spill and the follow-up there. we haven't had much by way of update, certainly not down to our level here, other than the correspondence with the MOE that was provided to the general public and that of Algoma Steel. That's kind of where it's at right now. If the board would like to pursue further conversations with Algoma Steel on behalf of local operators, then that's certainly something that we could reach out to Brenda Stenta at Algoma Steel and at least make those issues be known, and then it would be in Algoma Steel's court to consider and continue those conversations.
I'm wondering if it would be possible to get some information from the outfitters that have been impacted from this and get a sense of what the economic impact has been to them. And I'm wondering if we could sort of gather our information on our side and present it to them, because they may not be aware of what that impact is. And I'm sure that they want to be a good community partner and help out. So, maybe developing a recreational development fund, or they can contribute in some way to the fund that we are able to distribute to the community. That might be a nice thing for them to do, and a great PR for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can have staff here reach out to the operators that are using the St. Mary's River here and try to pull together some numbers in terms of economic impact.
I did recently actually submit, we did a little bit of number crunching as to the impact that we felt on our end for the amount of days that it was in operation. We could not be in operation, as well as some of the missed opportunities that would have happened. So I sent that out to Tara just before the meeting. So I'm able to share that if you'd like at some point.
Absolutely, Brad.
I think it's critical that we find out to what extent the tourism industry and the people in it have been impacted or affected in a negative way. Whether we can put a price tag on it or not, or they can, is another issue. But at the very least, we have to have interest in the environmental issues that could arise or have arisen. And so this is probably a very good place to start in terms of putting our our toe in the water to see how we can handle that and assist those in that industry. I support Lawrence's effort to find out the nature and extent of the problem that has impacted tourism and the people in the business. Thank you for bringing it up, Lawrence.
As a tourism operator, obviously as an ecotourism operator, I know that when we come to the Sioux and we're downstream from that plant, there's going to be issues. I know even coming in, we've had a lot of people suggest that that's not the best place to have the waterfront being activated on personal vessels that could tip, and you don't know what's on the bottom of that, and there's a lot of questions as to the sustainability of that kind of tourism. We've had to communicate our own thoughts about it, and about how safe it is and all that, and then for this to happen and for it to be sort of swept under the carpet, so to speak, it in a certain way, I think that we've had to backpedal on some of the ideas that we floated out there. So it would be great to understand the significance about how it not only just affected Thrive Tours, but it affected essentially all downstream, and really in terms of the black eye that it might have caused our community. I think that we need to address that in some significant way, or else it might seem as if that situation could happen again and again without any recourse.
Very true.
And I think approaching Algoma too at this juncture might be a good idea, because I mean, with them announcing record profits and just giving away $1 million to the detox center, and and you think that, you know, like with the potential strike, right? You know, it may be a good time to hit up their goodwill and trying to you know, twist their arms, so to speak, into some community partnerships such as this one. And I don't want to sweep under the rug the importance of the environmental factors and stuff like that, but now may be a good time to do it, since that, you know, they're in a good cash position and they're trying to build their community goodwill through some of the things that they've done just in this really recent short term.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can do that outreach. I think we'll reach out to the outfitters first, just so we can actually speak to them about some real numbers.
Yeah, I think that's a good direction to take, Travis.
And maybe we could just add it, you know, until we start getting some answers flowing through, as kind of an agenda item to touch on each meeting so it doesn't get forgotten.
Yeah, we'll include that as standing
I'm ready.
agenda item.
Okay, excellent. Great conversation there, guys. If I could call for a mover to join the meeting. Lawrence and Brad to second. All right, I guess we're all in favor to adjourn this meeting. Okay, see you guys August 18th.
Take care.